Do you spend precious time searching for the latest guidance on child protection? Are you having trouble convincing your manager or donor that child protection can save lives in emergencies? Do you find it hard to discuss child protection concerns with humanitarian workers in other sectors? The Minimum Standards for Child Protection in Humanitarian Action, or the CPMS, are a practical interagency tool for solving such challenges. They are reshaping our sector.
The minimum standards play a key role working to strengthen the quality and accountability of child protection programming. They allow for a number of things: for a clear basis for coordination, for expectations of appropriate responses, and improved monitoring and reports. Perhaps the most important thing, though, is that they don't exist in isolation, and they have become an important component of the toolkit for humanitarian action.
The Child Protection Working Group is the global coordination body for protecting boys and girls in humanitarian settings. In 2012, it launched the Child Protection Minimum Standards. Each standard was drafted by a team of experts and peer-reviewed. During the 2-year process, over 400 people from 30 agencies and governments participated. The CPMS build on other global and national standards and are recognized as a companion to the Sphere standards. Within a year, they were available in English, French, Arabic, Spanish, Pashto, and Korean, and with your help, that list will grow as the rollout continues. Available as a handbook and online, the simple and color-coded structure of the minimum standards makes them easy to navigate. Beginning with key principles and approaches, they contain standards for a quality response, for addressing needs, for developing adequate strategies, and for mainstreaming child protection into other humanitarian work. Under each standard, you find background information on the topic, the standard itself, in 1 or 2 sentences, key actions in the preparedness or response phase, outcome and action indicators to measure your efforts, notes to guide the work, and a reference list. The CPMS puts the principles that guide the protection of girls and boys at the center of our work. Do you know all 10? The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child stresses survival and development, non-discrimination, child participation, and the best interests of the child. The Sphere Handbook has contributed the principles of do no harm, ensure access to impartial assistance, protect people from harm owing to violence and coercion, and help them claim their rights, access remedies, and recover from the effects of abuse. But the CPMS go further and state that, through our humanitarian work, it is also our duty to strengthen the systems that protect girls and boys and strengthen children's own resilience.
Sometimes our field staff members are under enormous pressure of responding immediately and jumping into the response without consulting enough of existing actors and then also existing systems on the ground. So these standards, this principle number 5, really helped our colleagues to identify what is existing in the country as a child protection system to support the children in the ground, in the community, in the government systems.
Child protection minimum standards is not necessarily geared towards a specific type of organization. It can be for a small organization, a community-based organization, or a large international organization. It could be for an organization who is specialized in child protection, or for an organization who doesn't normally do child protection in emergencies, but does WASH or health, but wants to integrate the idea of child protection or protection of children in their programs.
Indeed, it is essential that child protection staff and other humanitarian colleagues collaborate on applying the CPMS to reduce our shared risk of harming boys and girls. The minimum standards aim to improve overall effectiveness and accountability.
In Liberia, where I was part of the response to the Ivorian refugee crisis recently, in line with Principle 5, we set up suggestion boxes as part of the complaint response mechanism in all the child-friendly spaces and schools in which Save the Children had programs. Through these mechanisms, the children provided a lot of useful information, which then led to adjustments in the time and schedule of activities we ran in those camps, as well as numbers and gender of the CFS facilitators we hired, hence making the interventions more successful.
There is a clear need to increase the sector's effectiveness by producing a solid evidence base. Thus, the CPMS both clarify how we measure the impacts of our work and provide sample indicators. The CPMS are for all stages of humanitarian action. You should apply them in preparedness, response, and early recovery efforts to prevent violations of children's right to protection. To sum up, why are the CPMS central to humanitarian work? It's because they have changed how children are provided protection in an emergency. As a sphere companion, they hold all humanitarian actors accountable. And because they must be applied to prevent violations from happening, to respond to those which have, and to be prepared for an emergency. In using them, you will find that they are a practical interagency tool. They are easy to navigate, and working with colleagues can be adapted to your context.
So child protection minimum standards provide a benchmark and a common frame of reference for all practitioners. It's a combination of lessons that were learned by many practitioners in different contexts and different emergencies that are all coming together and handed to us as a gift.
The minimum standards for child protection in humanitarian action represent the foundation for further development of the child protection sector and exist to improve our practice. Each of us taking up the challenge to apply them will improve protection results for boys and girls. Other installments in this series focus on how to use the CPMS and on the specific standards for addressing needs. The CPWG provides support for applying the standards, such as mainstreaming briefs, guidance on contextual adaptation, child and youth-friendly versions, and training packages. For more information, please go to cpwg.net/minimum-standards.